Despite a very impressive unbeaten streak of 5 games, Ajax find themselves inside of 5th place in the Dutch League. Today we embark on an exciting journey to rebuild Ajax not just as champions of the Dutch League, but hopefully champions of the UEFA Champions League. But there is a twist, we only are going to utilise youth players. Fortunately, Ajax is renowned for having some of the best youth facilities in the entire world. With promising talents like Sky Vink, Calico, Busiera, Hato and many others, we have a solid foundation to build upon. Let's dive into this challenge and bring Ajax back to the pinnacle of UEFA European football. So we all know Ajax inside of the game, they're an absolute powerhouse in the Dutch League. The challenge at the moment is of course what we set ourselves, only to use young players, and on top of this we are aiming to win the Champions League. So we could win the Dutch League 5 times and the challenge is still not going to be completed. Now as you can see on the page, I've got an immaculate reputation. Great training facilities, great youth facilities and very good youth recruitment, and looking at it, the owners is a status I've never seen before. The enjoying life at the club status I've never seen, so that's good to see. The bank balance is somewhat decent. But of course, the key players you can see in the likes of Bergwijn, Berghuis and Jordan Henderson, we're not going to use any of them. But one thing I have noticed, our hot prospect of the day is going to be Sky Vink. Now this is a player we are definitely going to use and we are going to be locking in. Because this guy, if developed right and he takes his chance, can become an absolute monster. Of course, for us, we don't spend a penny in the first window, but if you are playing back home, you would have got a budget of around £30 million. So if you want to spend it, you're more than welcome to. In the first competition sort of screen, we are going in and playing in 3, being the Dutch League, the Conference League and the Dutch Cup. Realistically, I would like to say we're going to win the Dutch Cup, be semi-competitive in the Conference League, although we have got a lot of youngsters, and the Dutch League, I imagine, is an instant 1 out of 1, a second out of second. Okay, PSV and Feyenoord now actually getting that status over us officially in the game as well. So realistically, looking at the competition screen, I would like to win the league and the Dutch Cup. The Conference League might be too much considering we're only using youngsters. And this is what I'm going to deploy. I am going to go with a 4-2-3-1. I know, big shock. We are going to go with a very meta tactic because I want to develop these players to the best of their ability. Now, I have locked in the players I'm going to lock in going into the next season. So me and you can both understand, hopefully, how these players develop. So Sky Vink, as I mentioned, an absolute baller. He might not look like anything special when you look at the player card, but honestly, give this guy some time. He can develop into an absolute monster. We are also going to lock in this fantastic left wing in David. Now, this guy is not only good on the left, he can play in the middle, on the right, and up front. For us, I've decided to play him in his most comfortable role, which is on the left wing. He's pretty quick at the moment. His finishing composure, as a lot of young players are, is not the best, but we can work on it. And again, only 19. We're also going to go over and lock in Levi. Now, I am quite excited by this guy because he could improve a lot, literally as it says on the tin, and he already looks quite good. For a player that's 15, he's got tons and tons of years to come into his own. Now, it might be a big shout throwing him right into the mix at the age of 15, but honestly, I ain't got time to waste. I want these players to show me what they've got, and honestly, I've not got high expectations in terms of assists and goals. Sort of like a 10 and 10 would be more than acceptable, so hopefully Levi can match that. We are also going to pick up and lock in Ethan Busiera. Now, this guy is a player I am very confident we can lock in and get great results from because he already looks incredibly well-rounded and, of course, is actually a centre-back by trade. But for me, I want him more of a CDM role because it's one of the areas which we have got really good CDMs, but they are sort of getting into the sort of the mid-20 sort of vibe. So him and Mansver can sort of be in that position. Of course, we've got Kenneth Taylor as well. We've got a lot of good options, but for Season 1, he's going to be getting the game time. We are also going to lock in Hato. Now, I don't need to talk about him, do I? Because you've probably signed him and I guarantee spent over 50 million because he is such a good wonder kid in the game. Can play centre-back, left-back or very attacking as almost a complete wing-back or even defensive winger, to be honest. Now, this guy, his only weakness, and I'm going to work with him, it is going to be his physical because he's not the quickest and the sort of style I want him to play is very end-to-end with the wing-backs. So he is going to have to be a little bit quicker. That's, of course, something we can train. He is only 18. And lastly, nothing really to write home about, but I guess in goal, we are going to go with Jay Gorta. He's 24, the youngest goalkeeper we have, and the best goalkeeper we have. Now, realistically, he might be replaced with someone like a Dennis Seaman or something like that, just a younger goalkeeper that suits this video a little bit more. But for the first season, we are going to run in and lock him in. And that's going to be the players that are going to be locked in for Season 1. What we're going to do now is we're going to go over and simulate a season and hopefully win at least one trophy, but I think we can do the Dutch League and the Dutch Cup. Let's go over and see what we can do end of season 1. So the final against Dutch Cup favourites PSV, and as you can see right now, we are going to go through 1-0 instantly inside of 5 minutes. That is what we love to see. A great set piece here is going to be an immaculate header from Satalo to make it 2, and there's time for one more, and look at the goal scorer. Traore is going to feed Big Akpom. As for the Conference League, you're going to have to go back a fair bit to actually see. We didn't get to the final. We didn't get to the semi-final. We actually bail out in the quarter-finals against Chelsea. And to be honest, it wasn't an absolute batter, and it was 3-1 over 2 legs. And considering the players we locked in, being young players, Chelsea probably are a little bit too tough on the day. But what isn't too tough on the day is going to be the Dutch League. We come out and we are going to win it and only lose 1 game, despite having half a team of young players locked in. Now, I will say the loss also come against a team that we should have just beat. It's an absolute disgrace we didn't beat them. But the points between us and Feyenoord and PSV are absolutely incredible. I mean, we straight up dominated them across every single game, to be honest with you. And genuinely, unfortunately, I am noticing one thing, and apparently it is going to be Berghaus Masterclass, because he is 33, and I did try and move him on. He is on the transfer list. Now, he's not a player I would typically sell, but for this video purpose, I wanted him gone because he is 33. So don't worry, despite him having one of the best seasons ever in football, I am going to sell him to make it more realistic and challenging. But for the first season, he is going to be in the team, and he is absolutely cooked. So definitely got a bit of help there, but at least it's 1 title under the belt, and of course a Dutch Cup under the belt. Unfortunately, we don't do the conference, so we do bottle the treble. But realistically, 2 trophies in 1 season, with over half a team locked in of young players, I think is pretty good going. And we have got a very, very fair budget to use, and I've got one player in my head that I instantly want to go and sign, and I'm going to drop a little spoiler. It is going to be Duranville. That's who I want. If we are going to let, obviously, Berghaus go, I want a quality winger, and I've seen him in my scouting inbox, and we can afford him. So that's going to be the aim. But realistically, looking at the players that we locked in, they've done very well. Skyvink, 32 goals, 4 assists, 20 and 17 coming in from David. This is not bad either, to be fair, from the attacking midfield player. 15 and 10, 7 and 8 for Patera. It's okay. And Hato, 10 goals, I imagine, from set pieces, because he ain't really pushing up too much. But we are going to obviously pick the best 11 and see how everyone done. Univar, a very good player out on loan, by the way, and again, a player we can use because he is 21, obviously, and he's had a year on top of that, so we definitely can use him. Kenneth Taylor, 3 and 2, 24 assists for Window. Wrench, again, was 21, so he did play a lot of games, 6 and 17. And I imagine, where's Berghaus? 48 and 41. That guy has got to go, and not because he's bad, because he is too good and he is 33. So he's definitely going to go, don't worry. Let's go over to Season 2 and hopefully pick up Duranville. If you are enjoying, be sure to leave a like because it is completely free, and do subscribe because we've got rebuilds coming out often now, and because of the best editor we have ever, they're absolutely cooking. Let's go over into Season 2. So this is actually quite interesting because, as you're going to see, we want one of the Dortmund wingers, and Dortmund say, okay, well, we want one of yours. And they come in and pick up Steven Berghaus and actually get him on the free. His contract was coming up, and he was valued at actually very little anyway, despite dropping, nearly 90 goals and assists in a season. He goes to the... Do you know what? He goes to the Bundesliga, and he actually does quite well. It is a step up, and considering he's 34, I've got to tip him. But we get the better Dortmund winger and the young winger who can be locked into the team in Julian Duranville. Now, this is a player who I know can absolutely cook and will be locked in on that right wing. Now, we paid a total of 7.5 million, and it was our only signing. We're being realistic with the budget as well. We've only spent not even a quarter of the budget, and that's our only signing because we're going to carry on using the young players every season. To clarify, just so you know, I'm going into the development centre, I'm going into the B team, the young teams, and promoting players that I think suit the current tactical style. Now, he come in for us, 11 goals, 9 assists. It's not as good as Berghaus, but let's be fair. He's 20 years old, his first year here, he's still developing. Welcome in to Duranville. And we're going to start off with back-to-back league titles, and again, only losing 1 game, and this time it is going to be against PSV 3-1, who are in second place and only 10 points behind. But a very interesting thing now is, despite not having Berghaus, who, let's just be honest, absolutely carried us last season, we have got this player, and it is going to be David coming in, a player who, of course, is locked in on that left-hand side, and he has come in as the top goal scorer, and to be fair to him, he is absolutely cooked. So they're things you love to see. It's going to be another Dutch Cup final, and look who is going to get the assist and the goal. Duranville into Skyvink to make it 1-0, and you know what? They simply fell apart. They attempt to play out from the back, and Brian Broby is going to capitalise and make it 2 in 34, and to wrap it up 3-0, Hato into Taylor, and that is some of the best play you'll see. Unfortunately, the Champions League may have been a bit too much of a step up, as we are going to go out to Inter Milan, but again, I'm not going to be annoyed because we are competitive. We lose by 1 goal against Inter Milan. That's a very good result. The Johan Cruyff Shield, and now it is going to be a bit more of a challenging game against Feyenoord, although you wouldn't think so. We're 1-0 up inside of 2 minutes there with Skyvink, and we go again instantly, just 14 minutes after. A bit of a scrappy one with Berghaus. I don't actually know how he's still playing, unless he's come back, but we did sell him, so I don't know what's happened there, but he's come back from the dead, apparently. Oh my God. As he is going to score again. No idea what's happened, I will say, as it is now going to be a 4th goal to go 4-0 up, so fair play to us here, but it wasn't a complete sweep because Gorta had a bit of a moment, shall we say, and unfortunately for us, although this was a consolation and it did end 4-2, I think Gorta's lost his head. So, okay, the confusion's cleared. Berghaus obviously did leave a bit after that in the season, so that's why I thought he'd come back to the club for a second. He just would not leave us. He loves the club too much. You can't hate it. But overall, it's going to be a Dutch League win, a Dutch Cup, and a Johan Cruyff Shield win. A treble Dutch win in Season 2 with youngsters. Now, of course, the Champions League wasn't a disappointment in my eyes. We've done very well to even get past the league phase into the round of 16. The Club World Championship, that starts soon, so I'll be sure to update you on that. The Friendly Cup, I might update you on that, but it is pretty much pointless. But let's go over and see how the play is done. So let's look at the players we locked in firstly, of course. 19 and 7 from Vink. It's a bit of a fall off from last year, but it's still okay. On the left, 23 and 12. It's fairly decent. Duranville impresses in the first season. 14 and 15. Butera, he does okay. Wrench does 11 assists. Pretty decent. Hato, he's never going to score 10 goals back-to-back, but 6 and 1 is fairly good. And do you know what? For a centre-back, age 20, above a 7 I will take. But of course, the real test, the best 11, what are we saying then? So, 9 and 2 from Broby. Carlos Borge, a player I've not even talked about, of course, a player that is always available on the free, it seems, when I play with other teams. He comes in with 4 and 3, Chuba Akpom, 8 and 4, 5 and 6 from Traore, Kenneth Taylor, 6 and 5, Window, who, by the way, he's a bit on the older side compared to what we're trying to do here, but he's been nothing but consistent, so shout out to Window, by the way, because he is having a great time. Apart from that, no real other big mentions, apart from the players we have talked about, and you know what, going into the next season, hopefully we've got a decent budget, because at the moment we're building a bit of a wonder kid powerhouse. Well, it seems that we might not have that, because we have got 19.4 million. Now, I don't know if the budget's not come through yet or what's gone on, but if we have only got 19 million, it's going to be a quiet season. Let's get into season 3, because this might be about a 2-second transfer window. So to clarify, we didn't get our budget sent through, and we did actually get a fair bit of money, and we've got more money because we can clear up some wages. Wout Weghorst is going to go to Nottingham Forest on the free, and you know what? For Wout Weghorst, that's not a bad return. It's a decent signing for Forest. We are also going to let Jordan Henderson get a move back to the Premier League, and this time, Tottenham Hotspur. 36 years of age, he comes in and plays 20 games. Surprised he stayed fit, to be fair, at 36 years of age. He does okay. Again, we picked him up on the free, we let him go on the free. It's just a player off the books. Nothing too serious. Another player who I did want to sell, but I couldn't sell, and he did go on the free, is Bertrand Traore to Fulham. Again, not the end of the world, because we got him on the free, he goes on the free, he's off the books in terms of wages, and to be honest, for us, he done absolutely nothing, so it was a no-brainer to let him go. We are going to go over and pick up Pafundi. Now, Big Robbo, if you ever watch this, you'll absolutely love it, I know, but Pafundi is going to come in, and he cost me 16 million. Now, I will say, he has come in and absolutely cooked. 34 games, 29 goals, 17 assists, nearly a 7.8 match rating. And this guy, look at the attributes. They're all flying up apart from a couple. He's an absolute joke. He can play in the middle, on the right, up front. He could play on the left with some training, but realistically for us, he's going to be locked in that attacking midfield role, because that is literally where he thrives. I mean, words can't describe how much I was expecting from this guy, and the fact he's delivered is mind-blowing. And go on then, we'll throw in a cheeky Yamal, why not? He come in for 74 million and he absolutely demolished the league. 34 appearances, 24 goals, 11 assists, and I will say, yes, it might not be the most realistic signing, but I will say the option was there because he's been absolutely diabolical at Barcelona. He has done absolutely nothing, and I do mean in the game, not in real life, before the comments start coming in. In this game, he's done nothing, so he wanted to move, and you know what? He can come to Ajax literally any day. And looking at what we've done here, we have brought in, obviously Duranville was from last season, we have brought in 2 serious players, and yes, we've lost some players, but honestly, for the future, you guys are going to have one incredible rebuild save, so be sure to go over and check out the Patreon in the link below, where not only do you get this rebuild file, you get all of the rebuilds, all of my tactics, and so many more perks. So make sure you're going over and getting involved, because this one might be the best rebuild file yet, if you like younger players. And as a running theme at the moment, we're going to start again with the Dutch League because we come out and win it again. That is going to be 3 trophies back to back. Again, this time, a real big point advantage. I mean, ridiculous point advantage. Only 2 losses coming in here against 2 teams we should be beating. But the positive to that is we are not slipping up at all to the big teams. Pafundi, top goal scorer. Yamal, second top goal scorer. I mean, Duranville, most assists as well. We genuinely are building one of the best teams, potentially in the Dutch League. What am I saying? The fact these names are already with us in Season 3, I think we're cooking. What didn't cook is the start to the Dutch Cup final, because we are going to go 1-0 down against Feyenoord, but luckily Pafundi, look at that for a ball in. A good clearance to be fair, but Satalo is going to cut in and turn into prime Lionel Messi to make it 1-1. Into extra time now in the 115th minute, Brian Broby is going to strike, and the last kick of the game, a ball over the top, Akpom back inside. Oh, it's a scrappy one. We'll take it. The Champions League again, we are going to bail out, but do you know what? It is progress into the quarterfinals, and it is it's a bit of a destruction against PSG, a 5-2 defeat, but it's PSG. We've got to cut some slack, and do you know what? As long as we can keep progressing, we are now in Season 4, so we sort of might need to fast track a little bit, but as long as we progress next year as well, so the semi-final or the final, even if we don't win it, I'm happy with what I'm seeing. And now the Johan Cruyff Shield, this time against PSV, and it is going to be a game for the youngsters. Yamal into Skyvink inside of 2 minutes, and look at this here. Awful distribution. Yamal's on it right away, and he's going to make it 2 inside of 28, and at this point, the game was ours. But to wrap it up 3-0, again, it is going to be none other than Skyvink. And that is going to wrap up Season 3 in very, very big style. I mean, another Dutch treble. The Dutch League, the Dutch Cup, and the Johan Cruyff Shield. Again, the Champions League is something that is purely a dream, but is the ultimate goal. So we're going to keep trying to push it on and winning that, hopefully, to complete this. But to do that, I've got the cheek to ask for more money. So hopefully we've got a good budget. And we have definitely been given a fair budget, considering we signed Yamal and Pafundi last year. £66 million is more than fair. And on top of this, we've got players leaving, which frees up a lot of wage as well, because essentially how I do these rebuilds, we're going into the squad screen, and the short contracts, the ones who are older, I'm simply letting go. I am trying to get money, but a lot of the older players purely go on the free, and then the younger players that I want to keep are getting offered new contracts. The best way to actually sort of filter out all the older players and keep the younger players. So we are going to go over and see what we can do. But of course, first, let's see who performed well. To the tactics page, and this is what we're going to see. 20 and 5 for Skyvink. Yamal, 37 and 15. He has really settled in well. 40 and 24 for Pafundi. I mean, I knew this guy was good, but not this good. He is something else. 12 and 21 for Duranville. 12 from Jetten at left back. Another player who I did lock in from the youth academy. A very solid prospect. And look how quick he is. The guy is absolutely rapid. We've also got Wrench for 7 and 9. But the big question, to look at the rest of the team right now. Nice to see Yamal and Pafundi keep their spots in this when you do the filtering. So Wrench 7 and 9, not too bad. 7 and 7 for Manswerk. Kenneth Taylor 7 and 12, not too bad either. Broby done pretty well as well. 13 goals. Not as good as Skyvink, but of course Skyvink is locked in. So it is nice to see slowly but surely, when you filter by the best 11, we are seeing some of our players come in. Now, obviously when you filter by the best 11, it's done by the ability, not by current form, so it is a little bit of an unfair sort of advantage for the younger players. But remember, we are locking players in to make this youth dream happen. What we're going to do is we are going to go into Season 4 and spend that money. And I might turn my attention to maybe bringing in a bit of a wonder kid DM, centre-back, something like that. We've signed a lot of attackers, so let's focus on other areas. So one player we are going to talk about is going to be Jay Gorton. Now, I will tell you, we have replaced him with a better goalkeeper. He's not even that good at the moment. He really was not enjoying his football at Ajax. A little hidden secret. He is going to go to the Saudi League, and you know what? He plays okay, but the player we brought in, he absolutely clears him. And that is going to be Dennis Seaman coming in from VfB Stuttgart, a player who I did tease in the intro, and you know what? He comes in for 12 million and he does okay. Above a 7 match rating, that's the ballpark figure that I expect for a debut goalkeeper, especially in a Dutch league. He's 22, so a lot younger and already better. For me, that is what I like to call a no-brainer. Now, I've taken a punt, and I have spent a lot of time hiring some of the best scouts I could find, and they recommended this guy, who is a regen, I believe. I've never heard of him, but he looks fairly decent considering he's 19. Very well-rounded, and what I like about him, he's given me Griezmann vibes. He's got the dribbling, he's got the technique, he's not the quickest, but he's got the balance, got the agility. He's also French, I didn't even notice that. He's given me the Griezmann sort of vibe. Now, we have spent 30 million, but look at what he's done for us. I mean, 34 appearances, 35 goals, 5 assists, 8 player of the matches. He's scored over a goal a game, and I think this might be one of the better signings we've done. Again, I know it's not a real player. I don't think it is. If it is, I am sorry. But we might have found Griezmann, potentially. We are also going to pick up Najim. Now, this is a player that has gone right back on loan, back from when we brought him. And I will say he's only 18. But if you look at him, already he's showing good signs of becoming a very good centre-back. He's got the tackling down, got the determination, needs to be a little bit quicker. The strength, maybe a bit more strength. But again, he is only 18. And we paid a total of 230k. So, I mean, realistically, we'll take him. And 2 players that haven't joined just yet. As you can see, this player joining in 2028, but I am going to pick him up. It is going to be Inacio Fernandez coming in from Lanús, I believe is how you say that. He looks very well-rounded and, again, could not be highly recommended more than what our scout's done. And he cost me a total of 9 million. Alongside of this guy, who is hopefully going to be our backup right back in the future. He comes in for 1.3 million. And again, one purely for the future, 16 years of age, scouted and joining us once again in 2028. So I do care about the people that carry on these rebuilds, because I'm bringing players in that I won't even hardly get to use. So hopefully you appreciate that. Let's go over into Season 4 and see what these new signings done. So unfortunately, when I said I wanted to progress in the Champions League, I didn't mean getting knocked back a stage and being eliminated 7-4 by Real Madrid. I will say, that is one hell of a game. 11 goals across 2 legs, and a very good game for the neutrals, but not what we really want, is it? Let's just be honest, it's not what we wanted, and we are going to fall out a stage below what I would want to be doing in the Champions League. I mean, we've got one more year to try and make this happen, and it's going to have to take everything. I will say, this Griezmann regen, he's in the top 3 goal scorers. He might be him. But I tell you what, the Dutch League, they may as well not even play it anymore, because we've got over a 30-point advantage, only 1 loss here, coming in against AZ in a 9-goal thriller. To be fair, they did finish 4th, but a very strong season. Pafundi, I'm going to call him Griezmann from now on. Griezmann in 2nd place, 3 players in the average rating, 3 players in the assists, and our new goalkeeper picks up the most clean sheets. And do you know what's lovely? All of the players in these stats are the players who are young, upcoming talents. That is a good sign that this youth project is planning out quite well. Into the Johan Cruyff Shield once again, and as you can see, it should have been a penalty there, but it is going to be a scrappy goal instead. Wrench makes it 1-0 in 46 minutes. To make it 2, we have Window down the left-hand side, ball in the box, and Yamal into Wrench, and it is going to be Griezmann coming in with goal number 2. And look at this for a bit of play. From the back into Yamal, through into Ajax, we'll call him his real name. A solid 3-0 win. And for the first time in history, we have not won the Dutch Cup, which is some statement to say, I will say. The quarterfinals are going to lose to Feyenoord, so overall, this season actually has got some downsides. I mean, we've won the Dutch League, that is to be expected because we're so good in it now. The Cruyff Shield we'll take, but no progress, gone down the stage in the Champions League and gone down 3 stages in the Dutch Cup. So it's not a season to remember, despite our players being somewhat decent. And let's go and see how the players actually done. So I mean, looking at this, obviously Dennis Seaman had an okay season. Wrench had a great season with 16 assists. Hato, an average season, 6.66. Yeton, a pretty average season. Duranville, 13 and 23 is actually very good, to be fair. Pafundi, I mean, this guy might need to be investigated. Yamal, a great season, and the Griezmann regen really did hard carry the team. But looking at this, we're not going to do the best 11 because we can see here what young players I want to bring in. So in the last season, we'll quickly see what budget we've got. We've got 57 million, more than 50, 104 million to spend. Looking at this right now, I want to definitely bring in another young centre-back that is, unlike the players we've got here on the transfers that obviously are for the future, he can play centre-back, this player here. I will make him play centre, not make him, I'll train him to play centre-back. I want to bring in sort of a pre-built, ready player to block in there. Definitely another midfield player. The players we've got down here, obviously, age-wise, we're doing quite good. We've got a couple players that are on the older 20 side, but a lot of them are sort of 24, 25s, obviously a lot of 22s, 21s. We have done very well in getting rid of the older players and bringing in some young players. So I feel like we're doing that very, very well. But we definitely could bring in another really good young midfield player, possibly like a DLP. I've got no one in mind though, so it's going to take a bit of time. Let's get into the last transfer window, and I guess the last chance to win the Champions League. Let's see if we can make it happen. If we do, make sure you leave a like, because this is some challenge. So then, to start off, we are going to welcome in Hector Fort. Now, because we're waiting on that other right back to come in officially, we are going to bring in Hector Fort as a backup / first team right back for 17 million. He comes in from Barcelona, 17 appearances, 2 assists. It's okay. He played a few more games than what I thought, but I did check this, and it was because of an injury to Wrench. So luckily, we signed him, because we would not have had a decent right back otherwise. So some would say it's destiny. A centre-back that I am very confident in is going to be Albanian Amir Legitic. I believe that's how you say that. He comes in already as a good centre-back who can obviously improve a lot. For £12 million, he plays 30 games, scores a goal, and drops a 6.8. Now, he is only 20, and he looks like an absolute unit. He is slow, but he is paired with a quick centre-back, so it is completely fine, and he's already valued. I mean, we paid 12 million. He's valued at over triple that in the first season, so we're doing something right. And my big purchase is going to be Patrick Witkowski. Now, he is going to be a player from none other than FC Bayern, a German player, 19 years of age. He comes in, and you know what? He doesn't set the league alight in terms of stats, but he drops a 7.3 almost, and that is literally what I needed from a young player in midfield. He suits a DLP really well, and look at the potential. It's an absolute no-brainer. Another wonder kid, well, not technically a wonder kid, but a young player with tons of potential who comes into the team. We almost have completed a wonder kid 11. It's beautiful to see, but the only thing I care about is the Champions League, so let's go and see. So the Champions League story actually starts, obviously, in the league phase, and we come out and actually win all 8 games, do not drop a single point, and we top United, Inter Milan, Bayern, Real Madrid, Barca, Leipzig, PSG, all these strong teams. We look like the team to beat in the last season. Into the round of 16, we get a little bit lucky, although we earned the luck because we did finish top. We are going to play Celtic and actually win 4-2 over 2 legs. So despite it could be in a little bit more comfortable, considering we've gone invincible, we should have smashed Celtic, but we get through past the round of 16 into the quarterfinals where we, do you know what? Because of a very good first leg performance, more than the second, we just about edge over Real Madrid, 6-4 over 2 legs. Again, they done it to us a couple seasons ago. We get our revenge, and we get pushed into the semi-final against a team which I knew we could beat, Atletico Madrid, 5-2, and it matches us up in a final against FC Bayern. I don't really want to play them, but let's go and see what happened. But what happened was positive, because we are going to go 1-0 up inside of 5 minutes from Hato from a set piece. Their only goal was actually classed as a Sotalo own goal to equalise 1-1. And we do go and win the Champions League final in the 115th minute. Yamal into Brian Broby. We've finally done it. We also make it a perfect 5 out of 5 Dutch League titles, and again, this is probably the closest it's been actually, with Feyenoord only 5 points behind. The Griezmann regen and Pafundi dominate the goals, Duranville and Pafundi dominate the average rating, Duranville and Yamal in the assists, and Dennis Seaman in goal picks up the most clean sheets. The Dutch League was never an issue. Right from the start, we've made a 5 out of 5, and there is also more trophies we've won. Let's go and have a look. So there's not too many goals in either one, so no real point showing the highlights because they're quite boring games. But we are going to win the Dutch Cup 1-0 in extra time over PSV, and also win the Johan Cruyff Shield 1-0 over PSV as well. Meaning we have won the quadruple in Season 5. Now that is the perfect way to end a rebuild because we have completed this save. We have completed the save, and I have left you with one of the best Wonder Kid teams you'll probably see in Football Manager. Some of the players you've got here and the tactic as well. Again, you can get all of this on that Patreon in the link below, and you can be part of a team of 5,000 people. Make sure you're coming on over because you get some of the best rebuild files, the best tactics in this game, and genuinely, the team we've left you here, just in the players locked in alone, I mean, what a performance from everyone. I think the signing of this whole rebuild, Pafundi, the fact he's valued at this is actually quite concerning because teams could come in, so make sure you don't let that happen. He has come in, and I mean, he's been nothing but perfection throughout the entire rebuild. The best 11, I imagine, is going to kick some of these boys out. It is going to kick a few of them out, but again, it goes off the average, or not the average rating, goes off the star ability. But if you look at this squad now, you've got 23, 26, 29, 23, a few on the older 20s, I guess, but 23, 21, 19, 20, 23, 20, 24, 20. We've got sort of a very big presence of young 20s, so I do feel like we've done very well in this rebuild to eliminate some of the older players because let's face it, they did have quite a few old players, Ajax. We've replaced them with young upcoming talents and still kept some of their original players purely because I like to do that. We don't want to completely, turn over the club, so we've done a very good job, and I imagine there we go. The reputation is on the up, and the trophy cabinet, that is going to be on the up, actually pushing them above 40 Dutch League titles. That has been a very fun rebuild my end. But if you are carrying on, you are going to have a budget of £104 million to go and spend. This is now the second youth rebuild on this channel. Obviously, you've seen the Brighton one. This is now going to be the Ajax one. And the question is, do you want to see another youth-only rebuild? If so, what team? I did hear a little birdie. They are after a little bit of a Southampton vibe, but let me know what you think. I'll see you in the next one. Enjoy the rest of your day.